Radio Show, your weekly voyage into Florida fishing. Presented by Hubbard's Marina. Hosted by Captain Mike Anderson and Captain Dylan Hubbard.
Good morning, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at the iHeartMedia Empire, starting our morning off right for the Real Animals Radio Show, brought to you by Bartow Ford, presented by Hubbard's Marina. I am Captain Dylan Hubbard, and my special guest this morning is Captain Dave Blanchard.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, how are you doing? From
It's
Pumpkin
awesome.
Jigs, right?
Awesome, man. It's great to be here with you, man. I'm excited to be here with you.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
I don't know if you could go that far, but I appreciate the sentiment for sure. So Pumpkin Jigs, that's what you've been doing for a really long time, and very experienced in the jig game, and you also run nearshore and inshore charter trips as well, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We do live action fishing adventures, and so we're pretty busy out there. I'm very blessed and fortunate to be. Everything I do has something to do with fishing.
There you go.
How much luckier can you get than that? Or
I
cursed
agree.
Or something. I don't know. But
It's a lifestyle, not a job. That's what my dad always said.
Yep, that's true.
I think that's just a way to rationalize how busy we are, right?
That's true. There's always a good excuse. Okay,
Yeah.
Always got excuses. So, but I'm very, very fortunate, very blessed to be able to be in this area. So, third generation, and just having so much as you are, and been around a long time and kind of grew up in it. And it's great. It's a great community, great people. We get to lie to a big bunch of people all at one time on the radio. That's quite a disclaimer at the beginning of this show.
Oh yeah, they love the disclaimers. I love it too. That's how you know it's a good show.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff could be rolling out, buddy. And with Mike not here, you can run the show like you stole it.
Yeah, exactly. That's generally what I do. And he still lets me do it. It's awesome. So I enjoy it a lot. And Captain Mike is not here this morning, guys. He's at his state tournament for softball, so he's out there winning some kind of big trophy, I'm sure. But we've got Captain Rob behind the glass, so we've still got some supervision. What's going on, Rob? How are you this morning?
It's kind of foggy and chilly today. I feel like it could potentially snow.
Yeah.
But it's clear in this room.
Yeah,
I don't know what
for now. Yeah,
It's still chilly in this room, though. It's always chilly in this room.
That's because there's a lot of big guys in here.
Yeah, right.
Okay, like Mike and you, when you guys are in here, there's a lot of.
So they keep it cooler for us.
Yeah. But, Mike, I did bring the turnovers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I have to put that out there.
He was worried about it.
Yep. Even when he's not here, he's worried about it. We'll leave some in here for him somewhere.
Well, I definitely appreciate the turnovers regardless. And on the subject of weather, it looks like we are on our first quarter moon here, and we're coming up on a little weak cold front tomorrow night. And then behind that, we've got a strong high pressure settling in, so a more eastern flow through the week. And coming up on a full moon and a little weak occluded front moving in behind that full moon. So looks like the fishing's going to be best over the weekends, at least for the next for this weekend and next. And then through the week, slower tides, that higher pressure, so that stagnant high barometer, and stronger east winds. So going to be a little tricky through the week, looking for those kind of wind-protected shorelines to do your fishing inshore. A lot of sheep's head around.
Oh, this is the time of year. You can't, those sheep's head, growing up, people would go, oh, sheep's head. Most guys, you don't see sheep's on any guide's back window. It's snook, trout, redfish, a tarpon jumping. Whoa, look at that.
Yeah.
Most of them don't say, yeah, we target sheep's head. But I'm telling you, when the time comes, every guide will jump on sheep's head. They are an incredible fish.
I think it's a lot of fun. Sheep's head fishing can be challenging, too. You're using lighter tackle around heavy structure, and you got to be ready to feel that bite. And they have such a stiff mouth, you got to set the hook.
Oh,
it's fun.
It's like inshore mango fishing.
Yeah. I equate it a lot to hogfish because you're using the similar approach. Minimal tackle.
You can't wait to feel them.
Yeah.
You have to let the force guide you with sheep's head. So
that is an epic way of putting it. You got to let the force guide you.
There'll be, if you've got 4 guys on the boat, and usually girls and kids catch sheep's head better. But you'll have one guy that gets, and the more frustrated you get, the harder it gets. And you've probably seen that. We see it in small groups, but I can only imagine when you get 40 people on the boat and you get people catching fish and some aren't.
Oh, yeah.
After a while, it's like they're yanking and jerking and slapping, and it just gets worse and worse.
That's a great topic right there. And it's so funny to me because a lot of times you get a group of 20 people, 30 people, 40 people, and there's always a handful of people that do really, really well because they fish a lot. Then there's a handful of newer people that do well because they're asking questions, they're listening, they're watching, they're soaking it up, and they're learning quickly. And then you have the group that just, I'm from X, Y, or Z area, and I catch X, Y, or Z species, and I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep doing it my way. And then they get frustrated, they're not catching fish, and then they get more frustrated because their way isn't working, and it just is a never-ending black hole. And it's really hard to try to pull that person and say, hey, if you do this a little differently, this will help you. If you hold bottom, if you make sure your bait's naturally presented, if you crank, don't yank when you're offshore deep water fishing, it helps. And then all of a sudden, some of those people will change around and you'll start getting them. But yeah,
and
the more frustrated you get.
And a man's mentality is, you can't really tell me how to do it. You got to be gentle with it. I mean, we get guys on the boat, and we get 4 guys pull up. I go, God, you got no girls with you? And they go, why would you say that? I said, because you need a girl to catch fish. and so we always say, who's going to be the girl? And 3 of them always point to one guy. It's like, I can't even, it never fails. It's like, I go, watch this. Who's going to be the girl? And they all point to this one guy. He goes, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it, you know?
And he's the one who catches the most fish.
And usually the newbies will.
Yeah.
I mean, usually those newbies, because they're saying, okay, what do I do? You know? But when you do get the guys that absolutely won't do what you say, and you step in between them, and one of us, Christian and I, will put a bait down, and boop, we'll hit a fish and go, see, they are down there. There's fish down there, you know. They
don't like that.
Yeah.
They don't like when you do that.
I said, that's what's eating your bait off. Then you reel it up and you got a nice sheep's head or a drum or something, you know, spade. I mean, there's stuff down there, you know. And I go, that's what's eating all your bait off. One
of the biggest things that I learned pretty young in the industry was that frustrated me when people would get out there and it's my way or the highway.
Yep.
And I'll never forget, I was working a trip with my father, and I think it was a 39-hour, it was some long-range trip, and these guys just were not listening. We're using steel leaders, just totally left field. And so they were complaining and being really loud and super negative. So I did exactly that. Went right down next to them, threw a bait out, caught a couple mangrove snapper, and didn't say a word and just walked away. And that was my first bad review. They were fired up, man. They hated it. And I learned quickly, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got to just approach it and try to work with everybody. And that's the biggest tip that we can give people listening is when you go fishing. That's why I love party boat fishing, because you can go out in a party boat and there's a cross section of the fishing world. People might be from the East Coast, from California, from New York. There's a bunch of people who fish all the time around here in Florida, and you learn so much from just watching other people. And you got 2 eyes for a reason and one mouth. You just shut up and watch.
And I do love, I do love the one thing about fishing, and I do. You know, I do a lot of seminars as you do and stuff, and it's learning. It's always evolving, you know. And there's the one word I think in fishing you can never say is you can't do it that way, because I'm telling you, any given time a fish is going to eat the bait on your hook, whether it be a steel leader, whether it be cable, whether it be a 12-aught hook or a 3-aught hook, but there are better ways to do it, more productive ways to do it. But to stand up there and say you can't do it like that, and I learned a long time ago that the guy's going to raise his hand and said, me and my dad never fished any way but that, and I'll show you all the pictures of the fish we got. So I learned along, it's like you say, it's kind of like you got to be kind of gentle how you how
Yeah.
you approach things with it, But you never quit learning. Just like you say, you watch people. We get people from all over the world, and the way they do things. And I said, man, I've never seen that. And I said, that's what I love about fishing. It never changes. Yep. It's always changing. It's always something different going on, especially saltwater.
Yeah.
And
fish move around too. They got tails. They swim around. And
I tell people, I said, when I was a kid and these fish hadn't have tails yet, I said this fishing thing was really easy. But once they developed tails, it got all difficult after that.
You've been fishing a long time.
Yeah. Well, you young guys got it easy. When we used to go to the water.
You walked uphill both ways.
Guys, no, we had to run across the beach, and T-Rex was right on our heels. Okay? We get to the water, and he'd stop right at the edge of the water.
There you go.
You guys don't have to deal with that now. You got a dog or something chasing you, pelican.
We got definitely this day and age of technology, too, man. It is changing the game for sure on the water, and some might say for the worse, some might say for the better. It definitely makes life easier. And,
it does. It does. I gotta say, if you look at bass fishing, those guys got monitors mounted on their motors, on their trolling motors, on their console, and they're as big as my TV at home.
Kayak fishing.
Yeah,
Kayaks now have monitors on them. I was
ice
talking
fishing.
to someone. Yeah.
Ice fishing.
Yep.
I mean, they drop down in the hole and look and go, yep, nothing here. Let's go pull our little Taj Mahal someplace else and drill another hole and look and see if there's anything there,
You lost me at ice fishing. I was with you up until ice fishing.
Well, we get guys from Minnesota on the boat.
Minnesota.
And they like to tell us, they all have pictures as ice augers. Like most people have pictures of their grandkids or their kids. These guys have pictures. They're all proud of their ice augers, okay?
And their walleye catch. Yeah. Great eating fish.
It is. My neighbor brought me some, and it is an incredible eating fish. But like I said, technology, I mean, back I can remember the old timers that were mentors to us were saying, yeah, we drop wax down on a rope and bring it up and see what it looks like. And I count, look at my clock and how far I run and line up the V in the tree, and all this kind of stuff. And we did all that.
I loved the paper bottom machines. My dad would come home from a charter trip. Yeah. He would come home from a charter trip. I'd hop on the boat and take the roll of paper and then unroll it and look at all the bottom that the boat had crossed over that day.
And how many numbers were written on the console?
Oh, yeah.
Don't wash the console, whatever you do. Because everybody had, I tell these guys, I said, why would you have all these pencils on your console? Why would you're always saying you had pencils. I go, because that's what you wrote your numbers down from your Lorans.
Yeah.
Unless you were lucky enough to have interface where you could hit it and it'd print it on the paper.
Oh, on the little receipt paper.
Oh, yeah.
I remember those too.
But yeah, everybody had big rolls of paper under the console. Don't get it wet, But yeah, that was. I love the smell of that paper burning.
Well, we have had a great start to the show this morning, guys. We got a lot more show ahead. You can join the conversation by giving us a shout at 1-800-969-9352. The Real Animals Radio Show on News Radio WFLA.
Please
we'll be right back.
Please call.
Save us.
Yeah, save us.
That's funny.
We need to get on there and not say nothing.
Someone call, please.
Well, I ain't got nothing to say. Oh, man.
I'll never forget. I was on the hub one day at a young age, and I found one of those like lead blocks that they used to put the soap in. So it was like basically a dive weight with an indentation for that wax block or soap block. I was like, what in the world is this thing? My dad was like, yeah, that's how we used to find where the bottom was.
Yeah.
Now I talked to Garmin yesterday. They're sending us this 16-inch monitor with a radar, bottom machine, GPS overlaid into one machine that has relief shading in it. It's crazy.
Yep. They got the new chips now that show it's like Drain the Gulf.
Yeah.
sea map.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean,
Garmin has their own. It's called Garmin Relief Shading.
And
we're getting that installed here on the Friendly. I'm excited to put it on every boat.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We use Simrad, you know, and I look at this and I go, you know, side scan. We put that
Fish
on.
have no shot.
I mean, it's just we go along the jetty and there's all the snook just laying there. You know.
Yeah.
I go, golly, man. I mean, technology is just.
And then you get to your fishing spot. You throw your GPS trolling motor over the front of your boat, and now you're right on top of the fish.
And I tell people, I said, look.
And people are like, why are the seasons getting shorter?
I know.
What do you mean? Look at how many more people are out there fishing, how easy it is.
And that is it. It's not hunt and find anymore. It's just go and fish.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to agree with that 100%. But
And there's a finite number of fish in the Gulf that can only reproduce so quickly. So as more people get on the water, and our catch rates are higher and higher and higher through increased efficiency from our electronics, our seasons are going to continue to shrink.
And I've always said too, I mean, the commercial, recreational will never get on the same page. And I mean, I've dealt with that since the 80s. I've been involved in the kingfish, when we commercially kingfish, hook and line, the roller netters. I've been involved in this to a certain, not as deep as you in understanding, but in the working side of it and seeing and saying, we got to do something with this. But what's sometimes overlooked in that is the loss of habitat.
Yeah. That's another problem.
You blame so much on fishermen, but there's so much money in this building thing, you know, and this habitat thing, and they take these shorelines and not only habitat but runoff. Once you build all this stuff, I mean, now they finally do fertilizer bans, blah 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 blah. But in Safety Harbor alone, these big homes are all along the water, and these yards, I mean, you could eat out there on those yards. You know, I mean, there's a truck spraying that yard every other day. Yeah, you know, and where's
it
that
would be
crap
nice.
go?
It would be nice to have what I always have talked about was like some sort of tax incentive or tax credit to go to that new artificial turf stuff. It would be really cool because I mean, you live in a house for 5 years, you get artificial turf. It's cheaper to have that than real grass because you're paying to water, fertilize, maintain.
Yep.
But
I just do zero-scape. Let your yard, you know, I mean.
Zero-scape, though, I mean, those pretty $1 million homes aren't going to do that zero-scape crap.
I get it, I do get it.
But that AstroTurf stuff is nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that stuff. I've thought about that.
Thought we were there.
But yeah, there's a lot of factoring, and then of course, you know, you got everything that was dumped in from over there. But what I don't like though is as soon as something happens, everybody jumps on it and blames everything on it. They like when that big spill.
Yeah.
Every spot of red tide in the whole world was blamed on it. You know.
Yeah.
Is Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
And we're back. Captain Dylan Hubbard here on the Bartow Ford Real Animals Fishing Show. No Captain Mike this morning. Unfortunately, you got me and Captain Dave Blanchard from Pumpkin Jigs on the show this morning. And you can give us a shout and join the conversation, too, at 1-800-969-9352. Before the break, we were talking a little bit about electronics and technology and its effect on our industry and fishery. And then during the break there on the Facebook Live feed, we were talking a little bit about how not only technology is affecting the fishery, but obviously all those other issues with harmful algal blooms and pollution and runoffs and stuff like that. So lots of issues that face us.
There is, and it's something that's always faced us, but it keeps growing as time goes on. And, and I know a certain amount of it, like loss of habitat and such as that, it's kind of hard to deal with that because room runs out. You know, but this industry, you know, it's big, but it's little. I mean, if you look at a worldwide scale, I mean, a lot of fisheries have collapsed.
Yeah.
Totally collapsed on a major industry like the Japan and such as that. I hear from buyers that do that, and they go, their fishing industry has collapsed, and that's scary.
Yeah.
When you look at how big the oceans are, but the technology has, like we were talking earlier, has grown to a point. The fish still reproduce the same speed, but our technology of harvesting them is up
exponentially.
who knows how many thousands fold,
Yeah.
But the fish still produce at the same speed.
Amen to that.
So,
well, we've got Charlie from Cocoa Beach who wants to chime in here. How you doing this morning, Charlie?
Hey, Dylan. How are you, man? How are you,
Doing well.
Dave?
Another day in paradise, man. How about you?
Living the dream. Living the dream.
So what's going on?
Well, I want to go back a few steps. You know me, Dylan. I'm a regular over there at Hubbard's, and I love every minute I'm there.
Oh, Charlie Polans. How you do this morning?
Yeah. I'm good, man. I'm relaxing from fishing with you all week.
Finally back home, taking a break.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to get out again. But I wanted to just call in with a couple quick stories. As you know, I was a mate for many years up north, and I used to have a saying, women and children first, man. They always catch the biggest fish, and it just seems that way because they're paying the most attention. They're not drinking beers and not talking and not bullshitting.
Whoa. Drinking beers isn't bad. Let's not go too far.
Well, no. But you know what I mean. They're more attentive. They're paying attention, and it just seemed like they were catching the bigger, better quality fish because they were just paying more attention. And what I would do is when I would go around in the morning collecting fares and people, I would ask them if they want to go in the jackpot or the pool, and they would say yes or no. And if they have a little one with them or their wife with them, a lot of times they would refuse and go, no, they're not going to fish that much today. And I go, well, would you mind if I would put the pool money in for them? Oh, yeah. And then at the end of the day, if they win, I'll split it with you. We'll split it right down the middle. How about that? And they'd be more than willing to do so. Let me tell you, 9 times out of 10.
That's
you
awesome.
sly dog.
That's like Inside Trader or something.
Charlie, you want to do that same deal again? And I go, you're in, buddy.
That's
and
funny.
it would be a blast for the kid, a blast for the wife. The guy would be, his jaw would be down on the deck going, I can't believe he caught that fish. But, a little secret, 9 times out of 10, I'm paying attention to that kid or that wife most of the day. I'm giving them the good baits, and I'm giving them extra advice.
Sliding them off to the side.
I have, a dog in the race there, so.
Yeah.
That's
But
funny.
it's all for the good fun and to get them to come back for another trip and bring some friends,
Amen to that. Well, I appreciate the stories and the addition to the show. Thanks for calling in this morning, Charlie. We are up against a break here, but appreciate you calling in, and hopefully we'll see you again next week.
I'll be out on Thursday.
All right, man. See you Thursday. Thanks,
buddy.
Charlie. Always a pleasure chatting with you guys. You can join the conversation, too. Give us a shout, 1-800-969-9352. On the other side, we've got the legend, the myth, the man, Captain Van Hubbard on the other side. We'll be chatting with him a little bit. So stay with us, stay tuned, and we appreciate you listening this morning. Thanks for joining us. Real Animals, Bartow Ford Fishing Show. We'll be right back.
News, traffic, and weather. Top and bottom of every hour.
News Radio WFLA, an iHeart radio station.
I'm going to have to steal that
Hillsborough
one.
County deputies have a
I always say on the boat, I said, man, guys, it's going to be a long trip home for you guys, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
the kids are going, what's the matter, Dad? What's the matter, Dad? You can't catch one, Dad. And the wives and girlfriends are going, honey, I don't know what your problem is. And we jump on that with both feet, And the fathers, and they go, I'm paying for this trip. You think I could catch a fish?
Yeah, that's my wife doesn't love to go fishing with me too much. She does occasionally, and whenever she does, she always outfishes me.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Because we tell people.
I look forward to my son outfishing me.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. We tell people on the boat, said, we're going to tell you right now, if we find a weakness in your armor, we pounce on it. Okay, just so you know. What happens on this boat, does not stay on this.
This isn't Las Vegas.
You gotta be sorry. And we're good at making up stories too.
Yeah. Making up stories and telling stories.
Yep. I used to run into Van Hubbard quite a bit here and there.
Yeah.
I don't see him much anymore. I mean, he's off doing, he had a few places where he hung out. It seemed like I'd run into him and stuff.
Yeah. He loved that one place in, what was it called? Shrimpies. He used to love that place in Treasure Island.
Yeah. I think he had something to do with tailwaters for a while, too, because he was on Ranger or something. He did something with something, I don't know, because I used to run into him at tailwaters there on 19.
Yeah.
But right by Curlew there at the but
Curlew. That's way up north.
yeah.
Might as well be Egypt for me.
People, they get on the boat and they'll say, I said, is there anything past Tarpon Springs? I said, is it like Mad Max when you go past that, it just turns into this wasteland? And they'll go where they're from and they go, is that like overseas? They go, Dave, what are you talking about? I said, I've lived in Safety Harbor all my life, man. I don't know if there's anything out there. They go, oh my God, really? I said, yep.
That's crazy. Safety Harbor's still pretty far north.
It is. It's kind of a hub. It's right across the, Courtney Campbell and all that, but it's kind of a neat, it's become that destination though, because everybody wants to live there because they can commute almost everywhere from there. North, south, east, west. It's just, it ain't Little Safety Harbor anymore, but
yeah,
it is. That's another thing with time, Nothing stays.
Yeah. Things keep changing.
Yeah. I used to tell people, I said, the one thing you can totally count on, you can always count on, is change. It's never gonna, no matter how much you love something and how much you're in on it, sooner or later it's gonna change.
Yeah.
And you learn that in the fishing industry big time. We got this bite going on every day. We're going out there, we found the fish.
And then the bite changes, so the fish move.
And you're sitting there going, wait a minute, where do we go now?
Keep looking, sticking and moving, right?
I used to love people who go, offshore fishing is a lot easier than inshore. No, inshore might be a little more technical to a certain degree.
I think they're equally difficult.
Offshore,
They bring different challenges.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's different challenges.
Yeah, like inshore, I would not want to be a guide on Tampa Bay. I always say just because of the traffic.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still trying to find fish, find spots, but you find a spot in Tampa Bay, everybody and their brother can see you.
Well, that's the same way with us. And, all that Clearwater, Indian Rocks, the whole Tarpon, that whole thing, Palm Harbor. I mean, it's intercoastal. There is little, so there is nowhere to hide. And when you're in a tower, as soon as they see a tower boat, it's like a big beacon.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you just got to fish your spots, and you got to be diversified. You got to have. You can't run the same spot every day, as you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we did 2 offshore trips. Well, when we say offshore, nearshore trips, and we stunk it up. I mean, it was tough, man. I mean, and during all these closures, everybody in the marina hated us because we're always bringing hogfish in. They're fishing snook trout and redfish. You can't keep nothing. Mm-hmm. And their clients are going, I'm kind of getting, I love fishing with, like Jimmy Huddleston's really busy, but he says, man, my clients are starting to say, I fished with you 3 times and we haven't been able to keep anything.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know if I want to go. It was starting to wear on his clients. They wanted a redfish dinner. I get it. We come in, we got grouper, hogfish, mangoes, whatever, and A lot of those guys don't do that.
Yeah.
They're not diversified, and it wore on a lot of guys, a lot of people.
Yeah.
But then the debate comes in. Guys, I tell my people they can't keep anything even when it's open. I go, oh, I'm not.
Can't take home a fresh fish dinner? That's tough.
It's Marina. Now your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
Just Captain Dylan Hubbard this morning, but we've got Captain Dave Blanchard with us in studio and you guys as well. Appreciate you tuning in this morning to the Real Animals Radio Show. Quickly want to give a shout out to our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems. If you need a new roof or roof repair, check out our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems. They understand that your roof is a large investment and protects most everything you own. Let Affordable Roofing Systems' 3 decades of experience and roofing knowledge guide you through this important process. Whether you need a shingle, metal, tile, or a flat roof, Affordable Roofing Systems is your safest choice for repairs or replacements. Affordable Roofing Systems is defined by integrity, respect, and honesty, and has a personalized and professional approach to doing business. Call Affordable Roofing Systems today at 888-397-ROOF for your free estimate, or visit their website at affordableroofingflorida.com.
Man, I love the way you read that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
emphasis.
Feeling into it. You believed in it.
Yeah.
That was a good job.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it. That's my motto.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
All right. So we have Captain Van Hubbard, as we said before the break, on the line. How you doing this morning, Captain Van?
I'm doing fabulous, buddy. Beautiful day in paradise. How you been?
Been good, man. Staying busy. Got a lot of good fishing going on. That gag bite's heating up. The hogfish are hot and heavy. Didn't really have much of a kingfish fall run, unfortunately, but been doing pretty good, man. How about you?
I've been doing good. Got to spend a weekend with your dad last weekend. We had a good time airboating up there and everything. And
you went to Swamp Stock?
Enjoy. Go ahead.
You went to Swamp Stock, huh?
Yes, sir. We had a good time.
That's awesome. Yeah, we have some property up in Floral City, and my dad spends a lot of time out in the swamp on an airboat now. different world.
The air hub.
Yeah, exactly. You've been doing any fishing lately, Captain Van?
Yeah, I have. And honestly, guys, down here, it's been the slowest I've ever seen.
Wow.
Water quality is a big factor. Dave was bringing up during the break there about not being able to keep stuff, making it hard. We can keep a whopping 6 trout per boat, but that's better than the last 3 years when we could keep nothing.
Yep.
Inshore fishing, the red tide hurt us bad down here. Like you said, we had some mackerel earlier, but we never got a kingfish run.
Nope.
They're down at Marco now. But I'm just glad to still be able to be on the water and be down here and really enjoy the conversation you and Dave are having in the break there and stuff. And one of the biggest secrets about fishing is not to give a darn. An old buddy of mine, Steve Doss, we went tarpon fishing one night, and they were biting like crazy. And no matter which side I sat on, I couldn't get a bite for traditional bass fishing. And after 3 beers, I didn't give a darn, and I started getting bites.
Yep.
So,
there you go.
Yep.
The harder you try, don't take your last dollar to the casino to win rent money. Go to have a good time. You might win. Go having to win or catch fish. You're doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Take the pressure off.
Yep. That's it.
So the to sum up what you said, beer solved your problem.
Well, no, but I didn't give a darn.
I misinterpreted that. I don't know how.
And that solved my problem.
You young guys take everything right to context. I mean, it's a problem here.
That's my problem.
Me, a young guy? Is that what you said, Dave?
These young guys, they don't know.
About Dylan. You definitely ain't talking about me.
Or me. No. We found no. I'm talking about Dylan. He said he hears beer. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Well, for me, it's Jameson, not beer, but we're nitpicking now. Like father, like son, right, Captain Van?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for you to break out the red and green socks like Grandpa.
I don't know if I've earned those yet. That's a long way down the road for me.
Seriously, buddy. Absolutely seriously. Your pop and I were talking about it last weekend. You are doing a phenomenal job. You have your dad took what Wilson did way ahead of the game, and you keep hitting it out of the park. You're just doing phenomenal, and want to commend you and congratulate you. Don't forget your family, and I know you don't, but you're just doing a phenomenal job, and we're all proud of you.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you calling in this morning and sharing some of your wisdom with the listeners this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Y'all have a great day.
You too, buddy. Good hearing from you.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
to talk to you. Thanks for calling in. And you can join the conversation, too. Give us a shout at 1-800-969-9352. We've got our good friend Ron from Ron's Tackle Box, our freshwater guru, to change up the conversation here and share with us a little bit of bass fishing expertise. And how are those specs doing, Ron?
Well, they're doing great. They slowed down a little bit in some of the lakes because it got a little bit warm again.
Uh-oh.
We need that cold weather to get that water temperature down.
Yeah.
But they're getting some real nice size ones. A lot of them even fishing on the fishing piers around here, picking up a few. Drifting is the best bet with minnows. The North Chain and the South Winter Haven Chain is really good places to go. Plenty of water, 21 lakes hooked together. Bass fishing picking up real good. They're kind of staging already for the spawn, so it's a little bit early, but there's a lot of great activity with bass. 3 to 4 pound fish are plentiful.
That's a nice one.
I've seen a couple good 8 pound size ones, males, but nothing bigger than that right now.
That's still a nice fish. Woo.
Oh, beautiful fish.
Yeah,
good
no
time
doubt.
to come out here.
That's a trophy, an
You'll
8
catch a nice
pound pass.
limit of specs, that's for sure.
Well, that speck fishing, I mean, people that haven't done that or haven't ever tried it, you look at it and you go, I don't know. That is probably, to me, one of the most fun, exciting little fish to fish for.
I'm excited.
Absolutely.
I mean, it really is. I grew up doing that as a kid and don't do it enough now, of course, because we don't have that around when I grew up like we did, all the cow pasture ponds and all that. But, I mean, as far as eating goes, there's not much better than pan frying up a bunch of those specks, eating the fins off of them, the crunchy fins in there. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. If nobody's tried it, they need to get out and try that and have fun with it.
Cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
Out here in Polk County, there's 554 lakes you can fish in.
Wow.
Beautiful. And Ron's Tackle Box has all your tackle, too.
Yeah. And knows where all those lakes
Absolutely.
are.
They have everything you need.
It can point you in the right direction.
Everything you need. And I have to say something, Mr. Dave there, if anybody wants to catch a nice snook, he's the guy.
Uh-oh.
There you go. Shout out to
Tell you
Dave.
that. I've known him. I've known you probably 40 years.
Yep.
That's
It's amazing.
awesome.
Yep. I can throw a cast net really good. I get all those snook. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
yeah,
Sorry
yeah.
about that.
I didn't know I had Mahoney on the show this morning.
I didn't know that. That's how you got him.
I was
all.
watching this video. Sorry.
Cool,
I
You
thought
took
that's
his
how you did
course?
it.
He has Dave has a technique that he can make sure you get a fish. No
Well,
doubt
thank
about
you
it.
for that. Thank you.
Well, thanks
You're
for
welcome.
calling in this morning,
Well
Ron.
deserved.
How would one get a hold of you or find you over there at Ron's Tackle Box?
Alrighty, I'm at 380 South Lakeshore Way, which is 1792 in Lake Alfred. Phone number 863-956-4990.
Awesome, man.
Come on out and I'll show you some good places to go.
The freshwater guru. Thanks for calling in
Get
this
out
morning.
and have fun. It is a lot of fun. It's a big different thing out there. It's awesome.
Got to try it out.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Hey,
Thank you. Thanks
have a
for
great
calling
day.
in.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure talking with our good friend Ron from Ron's Tackle Box over there in Lake Alfred. He is always reporting the size of the biggest size bass, and I think I look forward to that every Saturday, waiting to hear what the big bass was this week. And that's cool. They're already staging up for their spawn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really in tune with that anymore, and I've people always ask you freshwater fish. I said, I grew up because we live on Alligator Lake, and I mean there was bass tournaments in there and big bass in there and stuff. But I just don't, just not my thing now. But I do enjoy it when I get a chance. But that speck fishing, I do miss that. And there's some guides up there, Newport Richie or Crystal River area and stuff. They do both, and they are really killing it right now. So that's a lot of fun. People got to get out and try it. Yeah.
Yeah, I personally don't do any freshwater fishing anymore, but in college I went to school at UCF in Orlando, and I purposely chose it to be landlocked just to try something different. I hated it, but I loved the school, but I hated being landlocked. But ended up getting into freshwater fishing pretty heavily, and it was a lot of fun, especially this time of year when those bass bed down at the edges. I got kicked out of so many places. It was awesome chasing those bass around and finding those little beds. They don't like you jumping fences.
No.
I'm not very agile.
I was gonna say.
Don't let this fool you. But I'm tall and I can reach the top of the fence. And sometimes it would just fall over.
I was going to say, I'm not going over it, I'm going through it.
That was generally my mentality. That's probably why I got kicked out of places.
I got a mental picture of that. There's a lot of damage when you went fishing. Was that a tornado? Or was that just Captain Dylan?
Trying to get to the bass.
All our fences have been knocked down out back.
There was a bull trying to go fishing. Yeah, it was always a lot of fun, and this time of year, I mean, you could throw virtually anything at one of those bass beds, and they just reactionary strike anything that comes across it.
Oh yeah, they don't want anything coming in their beds. Yeah, Alligator Lake will go in, and tilapia, they'll fool you. All those tilapia being there all.
See, I know one thing on the Fox 13 fishing segment that I did. We did a fish ID thing last week, or I think it was last week. And I was trying to challenge Dave Austenberg to identify saltwater species, and he got like 3 out of 5 right. And then they surprised me and did it to me on freshwater species. I got 1 out of 4. I know largemouth bass, that's it.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff in those ponds and lakes.
Yeah.
And, it's mentioning that the crazy thing, if you go south, there's guides down there that have worked out an incredible niche with invasive species from snakeheads, and I unfortunately never got a chance to do that. And Paul that has passed away now, that used to own Love Lures, that was his thing going down there, and I wish now that I had made the time.
Yeah.
He was always inviting me to go down snakehead fishing.
Yeah.
And he said he's never seen anything grab a lure and bust it.
Wow.
And have it floating on the surface like those snakeheads would do. He says it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, if I ever have time, I want to go down there and charter a trip for some big invasives.
Oh,
especially one of those peacocks. I'd love to catch one of those.
I mean, there is just, I hate to see them there, but it just goes to show that, I mean, there's something
turn a negative into a positive.
Exactly. And these guys have done that. And it's like scalloping. I mean, look at how many guys all of a sudden figured out, wait a minute, I think we're missing the boat here, when we're slow, So that's an awesome thing. And how do you get rid of things? Put a $sign on it. Yeah. If it's an invasive species, figure out how to make money.
Lionfish tastes really good, y'all.
Yep.
But we've got music. We are up against the break. On the other side, we'll be talking more fishing, and hopefully you'll join the conversation. Give us a shout at 1-800-969-9352. We'll be right back.
It's me and my baby, we feel like the rain.
That snakehead came out and busted her right in half. I go,
Broke
seriously?
a hard body,
Yeah.
hard bodied jerkbait. That's crazy.
I go, man, that's just incredible.
That's a powerful bite.
And then they let you they'll even let you sell them.
Really?
They don't want you putting them back in the water.
Oh, they'll let you do whatever you want.
Yeah, they'll let you. But they say they're good eating and everything. And
Lionfish are incredible eating.
I've had lionfish.
It's like a mix between a grouper and a hogfish. With a little bit of lobster.
Well, that's like puffers. People think puffers you can't eat them, but you get decent sized puffers. and they actually are good eating. But people think they're poisonous, you know. So
Yeah. The southern puffer you're talking about.
yeah, yep. We got a big rabbit fish the other day, one of those big giant massive puffers, you know. He wouldn't leave the back of the boat, and the kid.
Have you eaten a rabbit fish?
I was gonna clean that one.
I thought they were. I thought those were the ones that were poisonous.
Well, I guess any of them, if you bust the guts open in them, I guess.
Any of them are?
That's what I've heard. But, I mean,
I have no
my
idea.
dad ate those things all his life. I do seminars, and people will go, and I go, look, I've eaten puffers all my life, and I've never had any issues at all with them, you know. And they go, that's not even funny. But we cut it right at that bone
Yeah.
and break it and just squeeze the meat out.
Yeah.
And I've had people tell me those rabbit puffers are awesome. And they're huge meaty
Yeah.
fish, but they're neat because that big throat blows up
Yeah.
on them, you know, and they're really spiny. But we don't catch them that often. But this crazy thing just stayed behind the boat, and I go, well, I mean, you want to be dumb? I got something for you, dummy. You
Yeah.
know, so we caught them, but I've never cleaned one of those, and I actually thought about cleaning that one and seeing, because it's a big old meaty fish.
Yeah.
But
I've seen people clean puffers. We had a guy out fishing with us, and he wanted every puffer fish caught. And he took home a stringer of probably 30 puffer fish. I was like, what are you doing? And he got back to the dock, he cleaned them up, and it's almost like frog legs. They come out in little chunks.
Like chicken tenders.
Yeah.
It's a little strip.
Yeah.
You know, you can either leave it on the backbone, because it's like skinning a catfish.
Yeah.
Everything stays on it, but there's no skin on it.
Yeah.
You know? And I've had people tell me they fried it just like that, or you can run the knife down it and take the two little strips of meat.
Yeah.
But, I mean, a
He
decent
popped
sized
them off.
puffer, you'll get about this much meat off
Yeah.
of them. So,
It looks exactly like a perfectly round chicken nugget.
yep.
Looks like McDonald's chicken
Yep,
nuggets.
and it's pure white.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as white as can be, you know. So,
Yeah, they looked really good.
I mean, there's so much stuff out there that, I mean, even lizard fish and stuff, you know. I mean, that. I mean,
We are in left field today, so I'm going to go out fishing next time and get a stringer of squirrel fish, lizard fish, and
squirrel fish are great
puffer
eating.
fish.
Yep,
Hey,
pinfish.
squirrel fish are Gulf perch to my
Yep.
dad.
Yep.
He loves squirrel fish.
I mean,
My cousin Garrett, too. I've seen him clean a whole stringer of lizard fish, and when he was done, it looked like a bag of hogfish.
yep,
So white and flaky,
That's the
and
thing.
they were incredible.
yep.
Incredible. We had them fried up next door. That was some of the best eating.
I know. I tell people that there's so much stuff that,
Now, lizard fish, I've never tried one of
yeah,
those.
lizard fish, if it's like gar. You can eat gar. You steak them.
Now your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
Well, Captain Dylan Hubbard this morning here on the Bartow Ford Real Animals radio show, and my good buddy Captain Dave Blanchard of Pumpkin Jigs. Appreciate you guys for listening this morning and tuning in on break. I found out Captain Dave Blanchard has tried a little bit of everything. There's not many species you haven't tried.
No, there isn't. And somebody needs to call, because when we're out there, it's going all over the place here. So
Yeah.
somebody needs to get us back. But truly, there isn't many fish out there that some of them take more time to deal with, and that's the biggest problem. But there is not many
Like
fish
flounder.
out there. Like what?
Like flounder.
Oh, those take seconds.
If you know what you're doing.
We usually tell people a lot of those fish, they get on the boat and they go, oh, those are a poisonous, invasive species. And they go, then why are you throwing them in the cooler?
Don't worry about it.
Well, you have to be a native Floridian to eat them. We have an immunity to it, you know.
Just like triggerfish back in the day, we had a Captain Matt Shimp who used to run our overnight trips. And I remember going out fishing at a real young age. He told me, getting on the boat, you cannot keep triggerfish. You cannot keep them. He would take every triggerfish caught. I was like, well, I wonder what those things are. What's the deal with these triggerfish? And I found out they are incredibly good.
They're
eating.
incredibly there. That's another one. It's a little tougher to clean, but it's well worth it when it hits the grease.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all I gotta say. But
I
yeah,
think
there's not.
everything's better when it hits the grease.
Oh yeah, man, fried. There's no way you can't.
Can't go wrong.
No. I mean, What is that? It's fried. It's good. Doesn't matter what it is.
One of the weird ones we were talking about on the break was a Gulf perch or squirrelfish, and people wonder why they're such good grouper baits. It's an incredible eating fish. Lionfish, incredible eating. There's some other weird ones like pufferfish we were talking about.
Yep.
I don't know. It's hard to pick a favorite. What's your favorite eating fish?
You know what? That's the
can you pick a favorite?
I've got like 20 favorites.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I mean, of course, you know, when you get to hogfish and flounder, and I tell you, the one fish I think is truly overrated is grouper
and red snapper.
Yep.
I think both way overrated.
Because to me, you can put a flannel mouth grunt, a Key West grunt, in the grease or
gray
a grouper,
snapper. Go ahead.
I think it's mangrove snapper, any of those.
Yeah.
I mean, most people in a fish fry, there's a group that always want to do the grouper because that's what they've been programmed.
They've been conditioned.
Yeah. But it comes down to flavor. Most people go, man, that's a lot sweeter. There's so many other fish out there.
It's a better texture too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, years ago in the paper, there was an article, and we get a lot of the same questions on the boat. Why does everybody have a grouper sandwich? What is up with the grouper thing? And I said, well, it's just a fish that was sold, you know. And there was actually an article in the St. Petersburg Times when they actually had a paper, you know, and you got one, you know. Boom.
Shots fired.
I just said it. And I'm actually sitting there reading it with a cup of coffee, and there was an article in there, and it said grouper at one time, back like Depression, there was so many grouper brought in, they couldn't do anything with them. So they tried to, in the state of Florida, used to do this. They used to have a whole group that would advertise and try to find fish and make them
more popular
in restaurants and stuff. So what they started is grouper and grits. Grouper and grits.
I remember that.
It was a southern thing, and that's where they say grouper took off, because the big question is, why is grouper that fish? Why isn't, you know,
they did the same thing with red snapper, and I think that was a lot of just supply and demand, and everybody's talking about red snapper. I mean, even congressional conversations were occurring around red snapper, and all of a sudden this fish became a household name, and now people from all over the country, when they come into town, they're like, hey, is red snapper open? Are we going to catch a red snapper today? And we're on a half-day trip fishing in 20, 30, 40 feet of water. It's like, no, they're only open in June.
And if you pull up a flannel mouth, you go, there's a red snapper. Awesome. You know, I mean, I think a lot of people have been over the world and such as that. I mean, it's just like throats, you know, grouper throats, grouper cheeks, you know. I mean, that's great, but it's a smaller group that digs into that kind of stuff. But I think a lot of things are overlooked.
Well, let's not get into grouper cheeks and grouper throats. That's the best kept secret around here. Yeah, we are up against the bottom, or I guess back of the hour, and our next hour's coming up. We got another whole hour to talk with you guys. Unfortunately, not 2 more hours, but we are going to be talking all about fishing on the other side. You can join the conversation at 1-800-969-9352 to chat fishing, ask your questions, give fishing reports. We'd love to hear from you guys, and appreciate you hanging out with me this morning and talking fishing.
Oh, it's awesome. I love it.
Got a lot more to go, so join us and don't turn that dial. We will be right back. Real Animals Radio Show.
Palm trees grow and shade the sidewalks.
WFLA Tampa. HD2 Clearwater, available everywhere on our free.
All the time we see it where people don't mess with the throats and the cheeks, and we have people that'll come down to the dock trying to get the carcasses. It's like, you don't want the carcasses, you want the grouper throats and grouper cheeks. And now it's gotten to the point now where it's like a battle, because the pelican situation and feeding seabirds, we do not throw anything over. And we work really hard to keep them off the dock, so we put everything into a barrel.
Right.
And so at the end of our fish filleting, you might have 6 55-gallon drums full of carcasses and a lot of cheeks, a lot of throats in those barrels. So And then some people will smarten up and they'll take their grouper throats and grouper cheeks.
Right.
And like our crew will cut out the cheeks and the throats for guests when they ask. So now a lot of people will take those, but then like big mangroves, big red snapper, there's throats on there that are good eating. And so my dad will come down and try to grab a bunch of the big mangroves and cut out grouper or snapper throats. And and then we'll have people coming down to the dock to try to get carcasses. And this time of year, you have the stone crab fishermen that want carcasses. So there's always like 5 or 6 people horse trading over carcasses.
Yeah, we throw everything in because we got some crabbers there too, and we'll throw everything in because the pelicans are the same way in our marina. We're in a little marina up in Palm Harbor we go out of, and it's a nice private facility, so there's like 8 of us guys that work out of this marina.
Yeah.
But yeah, we throw everything in the garbage can, the plastic garbage cans, a big bag goes in the freezer. The crabbers use it, whatever.
Oh, nice.
But, yeah, I miss it though because we have the bull sharks roll right up in there in there.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, just tear that stuff up. People freaking out, man.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, we'll be catching them tomorrow. But,
That's a good show.
yeah, but yeah, it's like I said, there's a lot. We get Asians on the boat, and that's awesome.
Yeah, they'll eat everything. They take the whole fish.
Yeah.
And then they'll cut the throats and the cheeks out. Then they'll make fish head soup with
Oh,
the
yeah.
head.
What's the bad part is though, when I've got elderly Asian people come, so they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So they go, Dave, can you, they say, can you clean them for us? Sure. Oh man, I've got a pile of roe here. Anything that has roe in it, the roe goes there.
There you go.
I've got heads here. I've got some whole fish, a few fillets, because some of them have been Americanized, so the kids don't want the whole fish. They want fillets. So to me, that's a bigger hassle than just cleaning them all. Because now I got some whole fish, some,
Yeah. And I used to fish with my buddy, and his mom was Filipino, and she would cook us up pinfish and greenbacks. And I'll never forget these guests that come out fishing with us. They brought me dried greenbacks. It was some of the best, like chip. It was basically a greenback chip, and it was incredible. Incredible. I've had sardines that way. Really, really good. So you can't put it out.
No, it's funny you mention that because when I was dealing with Ellsworth and Rawfield's Fish House up there in Port St. Joe, buying mullet for them, and these guys were coming in, and I saw a big of pumpkin seeds, and I go, "What are you doing with all those pumpkin seeds?" He goes, "Oh, I got the Asian markets buying them." I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, I got some docks where I can really load up on them." They want to give me like $1 a pound for them.
Wow.
I said, "No, we're going higher than that." And they said, "Okay." So they were buying them from him, and I go, "What do they do with them?" I said, "How do they cook them?" He goes, "They fry them whole." And he said, "Dave, it's like a fish potato chip. They put them in the hot grease and they fry up, and when you eat them, it's like eating a potato chip with a fish flavor." And I go, "Really?" He goes, "They're really good." He never brought me any, but I go, "Well, it's just like you're saying, greenbacks." I mean, I was running a boat for a guy from France.
If you haven't been to an Asian market and experienced all the different cool stuff they do with fish, you're missing out.
Wanting to go in and just do that, but I haven't.
I used to have this teacher. I don't know if I think he was American, but he had married a Filipino woman, and he had lived in the Philippines for like, I don't know how long. But he brought in one day, it was fried anchovies, and then they sprinkle this like powdered sugar over it. And I was like, whoa, no one in the class wanted anything to do with it. I was like, I'll try it. They were amazing.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
And I went to an Asian market and found them. And they sell them to you in a big bag like popcorn.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to do that, man.
It was awesome.
I got to do this. I'm going to do that on the way home.
Yeah. But it's funny, this show always ends up talking about food.
Yeah, I'm wondering why. I was running this boat, and we came in. We went out in the middle ground. We stayed. He had one of those glacier bays. So we stayed for about 3 days out there. And I said, "You want to go out there in this boat and stay for 3 days? I'm in." So we went out there and did it.
Wow.
And We caught a ton of fish, but when I came in, I was getting rid of bait, and he didn't speak very good English. He goes, whoa, 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 whoa. He wanted all that bait in a big bag. He was going to make his rouge out of it.
Oh, wow.
His rouge for his sauces.
Yeah.
You know, Spanish sardines, whatever it was.
This was a Frenchman?
Some of it was and some of it wasn't. And I go, this isn't. Oh. He goes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I go, okay.
Cool.
Build up resistance.
I love other cultures' food.
Oh, me too.
They always do it better.
Yep.
Show, your weekly voyage into Florida fishing. Presented by Hubbard's Marina. Hosted by Captain Mike Anderson and Captain Dylan Hubbard.
And we're back. Captain Dylan Hubbard here on the Bartow Ford Real Animals radio show this morning. And we've got Captain Dave Blanchard from Pumpkin Jigs in studio this morning. Yeah, I like that. Bringing energy this morning. And we hope you'll join the conversation, too. You can always give us a shout at 1-800-969-9352. And speaking of having conversations, we've got the man, Jim Fogle, on the line to give us our safe boating tip of the week. How you doing this morning, Captain Jim?
Good morning, Captain Dylan, Captain Dave. You guys are sounding good this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm well, thanks. It's even kind of clear outside for a change.
For a change. We need a fog safety. That's what we need now.
Slow down. There it is.
Absolutely. In fact, that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about paddle craft this morning. You know, kayaks, stand-up paddle boards, canoes, all these vessels are a lot of fun. They're easy to take care of, and they're certainly a lot cheaper than powered vessels.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a right to be on the water just like any other boat. However, they must remember that being down so low on the water, it's kind of hard to see them from a distance. Power boats get up on top of paddle craft before they even know it sometimes. Paddle craft have to remember that they must have a life jacket on board the boat. Even if they're not wearing it, they've got to have it on, and it has to have a whistle with it. You should dress for the temperature of the water when you're out on that kayak. You can always unlayer, but you can't layer up if you get cold. So dress for the temperature on that water. File a float plan just like we do on power boats and sailboats. Make sure somebody knows where you're going and when you're coming back. You really ought to try to buy yourself a small handheld VHF radio.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of paddlers will carry their telephone, and telephones are great unless they're on the bottom of the bay or something. But try to have that radio. Get yourself. I mean, they're very inexpensive. I think I saw a sale for one not too terribly long ago for $80-something.
Yeah, they're getting cheaper.
Handheld.
Right.
That's
and,
about right.
You know, the Coast Guard's monitoring that 24/7. You don't just get a emergency operator. You get a Coast Guard person that knows what's going on and how to help you if you're in trouble. You want to wear bright colored clothes and try to have a bright paddle. That's some of the things that the boaters will see way ahead when they're approaching, especially the paddles that are flashing in the sun, unless they're black or dark blue or something like that, you know. If you're a new paddler, don't paddle with the wind to start off with, because coming back is 10 times harder, and it sometimes will whip you, actually, unless you know what you're doing. And one other thing here, guys, for your paddlers, there's a new law that says that if you are in the intercoastal waterway, you got to get out of that intercoastal waterway. Paddlers are not allowed to paddle in the intercoastal waterway unless they're going to or from an area that they can't get to any other way.
Stay out of the channel.
Yep.
Stay out of the intercoastal channel. If you know, it's fine to cross channels, But for goodness sake, look, pay attention. You know, make sure there's nobody coming down the pike. And if you're in a, you know, if there's a channel right by you, get out of that channel. You can paddle on a wet sponge, you know, in most of those kayaks. But you want to stay out of the way so you don't get hit sometime.
That's a good way of putting it, a wet sponge.
Well, you know, practically, not really.
I like it.
Also, one other thing. Put something inside your either indelible, you know, black magic marker or something. Put your phone number at least inside the kayak or canoe.
I agree with that 100%.
If that canoe, kayak, or paddleboard gets lost and it's out there floating around in the Gulf or floating around in the bay, the Coast Guard has to assume that somebody was on it and fell out, which means that a search must be instigated, and we don't want that happening, guys. We don't want the waste of money and waste of time searching for somebody that wasn't lost in the first place, and those assets might have been needed in some other area that was a real life-saving problem. So
good tip.
Mark that kayak, canoe, so somebody can get hold of you, you know, if they need you.
Your phone number and an emergency contact phone number, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's good stuff right there.
Good stuff. All right, guys, thanks for the time. Appreciate it a lot. Dylan, you guys take care. For the Coast Guard Auxiliary in St. Pete, Jim Fogel, be safe out there.
Thank you. Appreciate the safe boating tips.
Good info, especially that number, because we find them out there. Yeah,
and it's a scary thing rolling up on a kayak that's empty. You don't know what happened.
There's a paddle in it, and you're going, "Oh no, what do we? You know, what do we do?
Yeah,
yep.
Call the Coast Guard and assume someone's lost, floating around, trying to survive. So it definitely institutes a big search and rescue operation. So having your phone number on there is important, so they can, hey, this blow off your dock?
Yeah.
Or are you lost?
Are you off? Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, this fog, and at any time, guys are out there before sunup trying to get their trout spots, and you're running around, especially down there by Dunedin, Honeymoon Island and stuff.
Gets tight.
I'm telling you, it's scary out there sometimes. You got to really keep an eye open for those kayakers.
Yeah.
And I'm not nothing against the kayakers. I'm not saying that. It's just they're getting to their spots before sunup, and they're not easy to see. And now with this fog, I mean, we've all had close calls offshore and inshore with fog.
Yeah.
Then you throw in a little vessel or a little boat that's right on the surface. Well, it's kind of scary when you get close to somebody.
Brightly colored paddles, I think, were one of the most hit home hardest for me that Jim always harps on when he talks about paddlecraft. And the neon colored paddles will definitely help a lot as you're paddling around. It definitely gets a boater's attention. And neon colored paddlecraft in general, I see some of those that are like camo colored now.
I know.
It's like, why are they making those? Stop manufacturing camouflage kayaks.
Those guys think they're mullet fishermen or something, trying to sneak up on the mullet or something, you know?
It should come in neon yellow and green, and that's it. It definitely is helpful to be able to see everybody. And to me, it's like riding a skateboard or riding a bike on the street. You wouldn't want to ride a skateboard down the middle of the street. You want to get over on the side as much as you can. Granted, you might have to be on the street in some situations, but you want to be over to the side of the street, and it's the same idea on a paddlecraft.
Yeah, that's good info, because I tell you, like I said, around us, and I know certain places have but up around Honeymoon and all that, where they rent kayaks and everybody's putting their kayaks in to fish over there, they haven't come across that channel in Hurricane Pass. And there's inexperienced people out there trying to go across that with a current. And they're like ants out there. And it's nothing against them, but they've never really been in a kayak, and they're having a hard enough time as it is. And then boats are flying by them, the big wakes hitting them. It can get kind of scary with that out there. So be careful. Be careful.
Then you can have people like me that'll just flip a kayak just because I'm in it.
Yeah, I can. I'm not a kayak kind of guy.
I am not a kayak kind of guy. I was at an earlier age. I did it, and there are kayaks that float me, believe it or not. Shout out to the Hobie Outback from Tackle Shack that I had back in the day. It floated me, but I am not very agile, as we've already talked about.
Yeah, I'm the same with you. I'm sure I'd be rolled off that thing before I even got, and that kind of scares me when you got your equipment.
There's a lot of money in that kayak.
Yeah. And I've had
Fishing
people,
reels.
I lost everything out of my kayak. I said, well, it's got to roll over sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
The law of averages, you go fishing in a kayak, sooner or later, something's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. More power to you guys. Catch them up.
Yeah, for real. And I see that sometimes where people catch these trophy fish out of kayaks, and that's a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
And
yep.
I'm lazy. I'll stick to a powerboat any day.
Oh, it's a dedication. I know guys right now that Jesse over there bets just won a tournament.
Yeah.
And it's dedication to get out there every morning in the wind, the rain, and push and paddle that thing around in places you've never been. And so I said the dedication to a kayak fisherman is on, but you can have as much in a kayak as you can in a powerboat.
Oh, I've seen it.
Now there's
Yeah, we did a kayak mothership trip back in the day.
I remember when you guys did that.
Yeah, and there was this one, I think it was a Hobie Outback that was rigged with the bottom machine, like a 12-inch screen. It had a motor on the back, it had a power pole on it. I was like, holy moly, this thing is as much as a canoe or a little John boat would cost you. It's definitely interesting how far that fishery has come and how much it's advanced.
It's
nuts.
Like anything. As soon as there's always the guys figuring out the next best thing. Yep, yep, and that's great. That's how this stuff all's developed. That's how we build. That's how I build tackle.
Yeah,
I'm sitting there, and you're always thinking about what's the next thing you can do, even though you can't get what you're supposed to be doing done.
That's unique to certain individuals. That's how progress is. Innovation. Always working to better yourself and stay ahead of the curve, right?
That's it. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's scary, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
All part of it.
Yep.
So besides sheep's head, we've also got the flounder have been picking up a lot. You're catching a lot of flounder near shore, and we're seeing the pompano pick up a little bit.
Yep.
Still got a lot of show left, so you have time to give us a shout with your fishing report, your fishing questions, or whatever you want to chat about. Give us a call here on the Real Animals Radio Show. We've got music. We'll be right back with more fishing fun.
I put them in my pocket. I put my dollars in a can.
But you gain species.
Yeah.
That's what I like about, much as I hate cold weather, there's things I look for in cold weather.
Yeah, it just changes things up. Fish get moving around. Species.
Your white bait all starts disappearing. That's the other problem. We'll all be shrimping it up here soon.
Shrimping it up. Yep.
And artificials play a big part,
No more cast nets for a while.
Thank God. But you'll always be out there when one guy shows up with 25 white baits. You go, you dog. Every white bait hits where you're sitting there with shrimp and
struggling.
This is, and as soon as they pull up, you go, oh man,
cheater!
You got to put on a show right in front of us.
They worked hard for those 25 white bait.
Yep. You piece of crap. Can I have one?
Just throw me one greenback. That's all I'm asking.
Please. We've all been there, though. We've all had the show put on in front of us. That's for sure. We talk about it all the time. There's always that. That's the thing. It's the same way with people on the boat, too. There's 7 of us come in. There'll always be the boats that, no matter what you did, you couldn't quite get the day together, and the boats would come in that did great. And the next day it's your turn, and they come in and go, I couldn't put a day together. I don't know what the story was,
On that earlier note, I was reading through the Salt Strong community this week, getting ready for my Friday fishing report, and there was a guy. He started out the day looking for triple tail. Couldn't find any. So then he bounced near shore to try to find some kingfish and mackerel or bottom fish. Couldn't do much. So he bounced inshore and found a little cut with bait and ended up cast netting a big old cast net full of bait and got up on the flats. He had shrimp, pinfish, and whitebait. Shrimp wouldn't get touched. There's fish boiling everywhere. Pinfish wouldn't get touched. Started casting whitebait, and almost every bait was catching fish. And it's tough to find that whitebait this time of year, but if you got it, they bite it.
I mean, we leave so early. I mean, I'm at the Marina usually at 4, you know, and a lot of those guys get there to chum. Well, we usually hit the bridge lights, you know, and because I tell you, my philosophy is I'd rather be sitting there 2 hours with bait in my bait well than netting to the last calling
minute.
my clients up going, I'm gonna be late, you know, and it happens this time of year, and it happens a lot. It happens. I mean, you're out there and you can't. We use as much dead bait as we do live bait.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, there's guys we'll come in and pick our people up, or they'll start showing up at 8 and nobody's back yet, and I go, wow, those guys are still out there trying to get bait, but they don't want to get up at 4 o'clock. I don't blame them. I don't want to either, but sometimes it makes the difference of the day.
The early bird gets a worm.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
You heard it here first, folks.
The early bird gets the white
Gets
bait.
the white bait.
Yep. But yeah, we were just talking about that the other day. I said, yeah, pretty soon we're starting to scratch now. It's getting tougher and tougher, but it'll get to that point. And
Hey, we're scratching for pinfish.
yeah,
It's tough behind that red tide. I was fishing on the dock last weekend for a kids tournament, the Jingle Bell Kids Tournament put on by Angler Armory. I had 4-pound monofilament with one of those microscopic gold hooks and the smallest chunk of shrimp you've ever seen, and I couldn't even get a bite for an hour free lining a chunk of shrimp. It's crazy, man.
that's brutal with kids.
Yeah.
Now your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
Captain Dylan Hubbard here with the Bartow Ford Real Animals Fishing Show on News Radio WFLA. Appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with us and bearing through this bear of a show. We've got Captain Dave Blanchard with us from Pumpkin Jigs, and we're talking fishing. And we're trying to, at least. It's devolved a little bit to food and technologies, but fishing's in there. It's in the background. And
Well, you touched on something though about species we hadn't. The species that open up with the cooler weather. You know, the triple tail.
Oh yeah, I forgot triple tail.
The pompano. You know, the sheep's head naturally. The flounder. I mean, and our flounder bite actually picked up. We had some spots where we were consistently catching a few flounder, which is kind of neat because we did that years ago and then it quit again. The triple tail thing, I mean, those triple tail are on inshore buoys too. People think they got to get out in the Gulf.
Oh no.
But those triple tail
Upper Tampa Bay.
And our intercoastal waterway in the Clearwater area, the traps that are, I mean, even the pinfish traps, a whole triple tail. You know,
any floating debris.
Any floating thing will. So, I mean, I've had kayakers ask, where can we go? I said, do the buoys inside the intercoastal where it's safe, you know? I mean, the cobia around the power plants, I mean, traditionally I hate cold weather, but it does open up an avenue for other fish. You know?
It turns species on, it moves species, it gets things kind of turning over. So
the trout bite will get stronger and stronger, you know, and we talked about netting whitebait, and that's going to get harder and harder, and then we'll be more into using artificials, shrimp, small pinfish. So it's a neat time of year. But as things go on, it's got to slow down. It's going to get colder. I don't know when it's going to get colder. I'm not griping. Don't get me. I'm not griping right now. But
Speaking of changing weather, we've got Capt Mike from Big Pine Key here on the line.
Cool.
He's probably going to tell us about how that wahoo bite's picking up.
Oh, that's cool.
Right, Mike?
Who wants to come down and catch a big speed fish right now? That's
Yeah.
what I'm going to talk about.
There you go.
Awesome.
Man, I have a picture. I haven't put it up yet. We have one of the fish wheelbarrows loaded with 6 of the most beautiful wahoo, nothing less than 40 pounds. The big one was 71 pounds.
Oh, beautiful.
The big boys have moved in.
That's
and
awesome.
we caught all those in 2 hours.
Wow. Send them up our way. Point them in the right direction now.
I'm trying because as everybody on the radio knows, I have a home up there too, so I have no problem. I don't like to bring the big boat up there, but if I had to, I surely would. But no, the fishing's been fantastic in the Florida Keys. I've actually been running some double trips, and I'm 52, and it's double trips. I'm starting to get to that age where I understand why Mike Anderson comes off the water at 2:30 in the afternoon.
You ought to be 64. You ought to be 64 and feel those. It hurts bad.
I still got 12 years, but no, the fishing's been fantastic. The bottom fishing, the hogfish, grouper, snapper, yellowtail snapper, you name it. You come down and you could about name what you want to catch or make a list, and we'll go out there and try and fulfill whatever you want to try and catch.
That's a good day on the water.
Real quick, you guys were talking about fish eating different kinds of fish. I'll remember the first time I had to learn how to clean a lionfish.
Oh yeah.
Without getting poked. And that's where a handy pair of sharp scissors comes in handy and clip all those spines off before you even do anything else. And when we do get some I usually get some lionfish. They go into a separate cooler away from everything else. So that way when we're unloading them, you're opening up the lionfish cooler. But they are fantastic fried.
Yeah.
Fantastic eating fish.
Yeah, our methodology is,
species.
we just throw them in a bucket and let them chill there for a while until they calm down, and then we use those bait shears to de-spine them.
Yeah.
And then once they're de-spined and long past floppy, we'll string them up in the stringers in the fish box, but we're not digging our hands through there, so that's a safe method. Yeah. But yeah, de-spining them is a great idea for sure. It keeps you safe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And real quick, I heard Captain Dave talking about love lures. During the Thanksgiving holiday, I was back up north because the kids are up there and everything. I was driving by and saw a garage sale in their area, and a guy had 9 original molds from Coddy Jigs.
That's awesome.
Out for sale.
I hope you snap those up quick. But
I couldn't get my hands on my wallet fast enough. I said, "What do you want for these?" He goes, "I'll take $30 for the whole thing." And I had a 50 on me.
There you go. Keep the change, right?
Him,
but Mike, tell us how to get a hold of you here real quick. We're right up against the break, my man.
That's awesome.
Sorry, it's 813-434-8086, Captain Michael, 47gmail.com.
Thank you, sir.
1-866-GAMEFISH. Yep.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you calling in as always.
Good luck on the Cody molds.
Yeah. Give us a shout. 1-800-969-9352 to join the conversation. We got William from Crystal River on the other side. We'll be right back.
Friend of mine, we're gonna talk about the good times and drink some wine and laugh.
News, traffic, and weather. Top and bottom of every hour.
News Radio WFLA, an iHeart radio station.
Hillsborough County. I think the biggest one I ever got was like 55 pounds.
Wow.
But now, guys are, 18 knots, 22 knots trolling for those things. I've done that.
That's crazy
It's just
fast.
Bent butt rods in the rod holders. And I read an article on that guy that kind of innovated that and brought to us Ryan from Pure Fishing. Got one and brought us some, and I cooked it up on the grill, and I go, And it was just pretty rudimentary. It was pretty basic, salt, pepper.
I've never had fresh swordfish. I've had it smoked before.
And that's, I mean, it was just a big chunk of meat. He didn't. All he did is just brought a big chunk of meat. I fired up the grill. I cut it off of there and sliced it enough so I could grill it. A little olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic.
Steak it up.
Telling you, man. And even Mako shark when it's fresh is like that.
I've had some Mako before. I didn't catch it, but a buddy did, and he brought it to the dock to weigh it on our scale. And he started filleting it. I was like, let me grab a chunk of that. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Easy, but wahoo, mako, those kind of swordfish, even they're really, really easy to overcook.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful.
You got to be on top of it. That's why I cut it kind of thin.
Make it easier.
I could cook it quick and not have to be like groupers. That's what gets me about grouper. It's thick. It's dense. And if you're cooking it, you either get it too. I'm pretty.
I like butterflying it, like if you're cooking a real thick fillet.
Exactly. I make 2 fillets out of 1 fillet.
Yep. Real sharp knife and just thinly slice it. So because you're always inevitably cooking some grouper with some snapper or some triggerfish, and you got one fillet that's 2 inches thick and one that's a ½ inch. You're gonna burn one or overcook one.
Something was going wrong in that pan.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
I don't cook inside. I've been banned from that.
Yeah, I
I'm only grilling.
Yeah, I fry outside. Everything's outside.
I don't fry either. The hot grease thing and me don't mix.
Yeah, I do that outside though. I got a big iron skillet and the big cookers outside. Yeah, I'm
that sounds good.
For that. Yeah.
I always cheat and use the Friendly Fisherman restaurant next door to fry my fish.
Hey, that's like us, Molly Goodheads, man. I tell people, even they said, well, we're leaving tonight, so we can't. I said, you want lunch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I said, look, I mean,
there's options. You've got options.
Why don't you just take something for lunch? That's like I said, we have big discussions sometimes in groups. I'll be at bets or something. These guys come in. I tell my people they can't keep anything. I go, I'm gonna tell you, that guy just hands you $500. If he wants at lunch and it's legal, I said, I don't want to kill everything that comes in the boat, but I mean, and I appreciate
you gotta let people take home at least that day's food. In my opinion.
I mean, and you're definitely in that. You're in meat. That's what you're selling.
Mm-hmm.
And people think inshore. I'm telling you, there's meat hunters inshore too.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean I can't keep that? I said, well, you only keep one.
Yeah.
Well, that's stupid. I said, well, that's the rules, and that's
meat
why
hunting offshore. I mean, the culture is definitely of let's take everything we can, but not everybody's like that.
Nope.
And you can catch and release offshore if you're not fishing super deep, and even if you're fishing super deep, you use a descending device or a venting tool, you can still catch and release fish.
No, inshore it gets brutal sometimes. People go, I can't believe I can't keep more. I said, if the mackerel were here, we could go out and get you a bunch of mackerel, and flounder was stupid. What was it, 10 or 15 flounder at one time or something? It's like, oh my God, 4 people.
Yeah, that's a lot of flounder.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like 15?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And the problem with flounder, if you throw big fish in a cooler, it looks like you got fish in a cooler. You throw flounder in there, it's flat again. We got those 160 Yeti coolers.
Yeah.
You throw flounder in there, man, how much fish do you start taking them out of there? There's 800 flounder in that cooler,
They lie flat. You don't have to stack the fish.
They don't lay sideways where it looks big,
There we go.
It's Marina. Now your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
Good morning, y'all. Captain Dylan Hubbard on the Real Animals Radio Show with Captain Dave Blanchard of Pumpkin Jigs. We're back, and we've got William from Crystal River hanging out on the phone. We're going to get to in just a second. And you can join the conversation, too. Give us a shout, 1-800-969-9228. 9352 with your fishing reports or fishing questions, or if you just want to chat.
Yeah.
Maybe tell us what your favorite eating fish is.
Yeah.
We've been talking about that a lot this morning.
We won't make fun of you.
No, because Dave has eaten everything, so I don't think he has any ground to stand on.
I dare you. Bring it. Bring it. I dare you. Bring it.
All right. William from Crystal River. How you doing this morning, buddy?
Hey, Captain's hanging in there. I just had an incident when I was in my dumber days when I was first starting out. I went fishing without a compass, without any electronics, and the fog came in so thick that we could hear people delivering milk and driving around on Cedar Key area, but we didn't know which way was the coastline.
Yeah.
The little trick that we learned or figured out was that there were a lot of crab traps. So we would go from one crab trap to another, and then if the crab traps ended up and we couldn't find any anymore, we turned around, went back the other way, and we were able to find the shoreline that way just by following which way the crab traps went, because you could see from one that would go out of focus and you see the other one. So that might be a little trick if you're trying to get home, but don't go out in the water. Try to be prepared. Have a compass, have a radio, wear the neon stuff like you mentioned, and then carry a simple whistle. If you hear a big boat coming to you, make all the noise you can.
Yep.
But this is the time to buy. Ladies, if your fisherman in your life comes home without fish, give him the gift that keeps on fishing. Hire a captain so he can learn how to catch fish. And bring fish home.
Listen to this guy. He knows everything.
I miss Billy Nobles. How's he doing?
He's doing well.
He's Billy.
Pushes the pumpkin jigs too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, Billy's been fishing
Tell him
hard.
William says hi, going back to the old radio shows that he was on when you see him.
Yeah, we'll do.
Tight lines out there, guys. Next time you hear these words spoken, I hope you're saying them. Fish on. Thanks for being there. Buy the man in your life a fishing charter trip. Also, in other words, if you're thinking about buying a boat, how do you know what boat to buy? Hire a captain that might use the same boat you're thinking about. Learn how to use that boat you're considering buying and learn how to catch some fish.
Amen to that.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for being there.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling, William.
I love that guy.
Smart man. And on that note, when you are looking for Christmas presents in the area, look at those gift certificates. If you're struggling, you don't know what to buy, your better half who's into fishing. And some people in some relationships, I see it a lot, it's the woman who wants to go fishing, not the man.
Yep.
So whether it's your better half lady friend or your husband who you're shopping for, you might not know what tackle to buy them or what trip or what captain. There's a ton of gift certificates out there, guys. Local tackle shops, local mom and pops, family businesses. There's plenty of ways you can shop local this Christmas if you're having trouble finding something in stock for that special person.
You did say something there, local tackle shops.
Local.
I mean, that is huge.
Yeah.
If they go away, you're not going to know how bad it's going to be.
Yeah.
Not to have that local knowledge. I say get in with a shop, become familiarized with the people. They get to know you, the camaraderie.
Yeah.
It means a lot. And you can get a lot of knowledge, a lot of knowledge in there. A lot of BS, but you can get a lot of knowledge mixed in, But, I mean, you can have fun with that, and it's important. So shop local, and it's an adventure to go to these shops. Go in there and walk around, have fun, talk to people.
Just like we were talking about earlier with party boat fishing and how much I enjoy that, learning from other people. The same thing. You can go to Dogfish Tackle. You could go to T.A. Mahoney's. You could go to Betts. You could go to St. Pete Fishing Outfitters. You could go to Southeastern, and you're going to have a different experience, see different things, and be recommended different things at each one of those stores. And it's not wrong. It's not right. Everybody has their own opinion and their own style, and you learn a lot going to those small local shops with knowledgeable people behind the counter that are happy to help you. But we do have a caller on the line, Joe from Virginia, talking Gulf fishing. How you doing this morning, Joe?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Great.
Hey, another day in paradise, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. Couldn't be better.
So what do you got for us?
I'm a charter boat captain here in Virginia Beach.
Okay.
And just happened to run across your show, and so far I've loved it.
I appreciate it.
I had a question. I was down in Anne Marie Island, ran across another guy from Virginia who had moved there and is guiding.
Mm-hmm.
He was telling me about the offshore fishery in the Gulf needing a reef permit. Are
Yes, sir.
you guys familiar with that?
Yeah, so unlike the South Atlantic, we have a federal permit system that's under a moratorium. So it's a limited access privilege program. So you have to have a federal permit, just like you do in the South Atlantic. In order to fish in federal waters in the South Atlantic, you have to have your federal reef fish permit for the South Atlantic, but that's not under a moratorium. So you could just go up to the permits office. I think it's like, I don't know how much money it is. It's less than $100. But a Gulf federal reef fish permit is under a moratorium, and it has been since the 90s. And it's upwards of about $35K is the going street price for a 6-pack federal reef fish permit. And with that, you also have to have the turtle gear, and then you also have to have now the Seafire implementation has begun. You have to hail out prior to leaving, and then you have to report your catch, your harvested fish, and those fish that were harvested and discarded prior to offloading fish every day electronically as well. And then starting in March, you'll have to have a vessel monitoring system permanently affixed to the vessel as well. So lots of intricacies to the Gulf federal permit for sure.
Man, I'm surprised there's captains able to keep up with all that.
Yeah, we work really hard at it, and
some have and some haven't.
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there's a lot to it, and you can always give me a shout through the hubbardsmarina.com website. We have a little chat feature, or you could just text us through our office number, 727-393-1947, and I'd be happy to chat with you offline and walk you through what you need, because there's a lot that goes into it, and we have different programs and associations that can help get you up to speed, and we operate a West Coast Charter Captains Group for federally permitted guys to keep them up to speed. So that's how we do it. So we all work together to make sure we're all staying up ahead of this stuff.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate the time, guys. Great show. Keep up the effort.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for listening. That's awesome.
Yeah, tight lines over there in the South Atlantic, and hope you will listen again next week. Thanks for calling, Joe.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, buddy.
See ya. All right, we've got one of our captains. Captain Frank is on the call. He's heading offshore, so we're going to jump to him real quick. And then, Johnny, we see you talking fried fish. We're going to get to you right after Captain Frank. Good morning, Frank. How you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning. How are you?
You getting ready to head offshore?
You were a little incorrect. I am not heading offshore right now. I was just sitting at the house, and I saw your post, and I was like, you know what? I'll talk some fishing real quick.
Yeah. So what's up? You want to talk hogfish?
Not a whole lot. Just wanted to say good morning, hello, and whatnot, and tell the people what we've been catching. I have missed the first part of the show, so.
Figures.
Wow.
I'm just kind of jumping in blind here.
Well, that's what we've been doing the whole show.
Yeah, that's how we do it. Don't tell our secrets now. But how's the fishing out there? Just give us a quick fishing report.
Yeah, well, I think the last 3 10-hour trips we've ran, we've boated 70 keeper hogfish and probably thrown about the same amount back. So we've been just doing really great on the hog fishing.
Yeah.
Of course we're super excited for those lane snappers to open back up. They can't do that quick enough for us because we've been throwing a whole bunch of those back as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they should open the lane snapper up any day now. I keep calling, and I just keep being told next week. Luckily, they open January 1st, regardless of what happens, but they should reopen them anytime now. We'll see.
That would be great, man.
What about the gags?
Totally changed it. So we've been getting some gag groupers, down to the south here. We're starting to see more of them, whereas they've been hammering them up there to the north, which is great. Just a little bit out of range for my trips that I run, but you guys on the overnighter have been just crushing them, which is really, really awesome.
Yeah,
I wish I could be a part of that, but we just can't. can't quite make it on the trips that that we run.
Yeah.
Or that I run rather. So.
Well, I appreciate you giving us the report for sure. You haven't seen any kingfish recently. I know Smokey's been trying on our 10-hour trips at Hubbard's Marina, but he got a couple last week, but not this week.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He got like one or two last week, and that's been it. It was just not the run we were expecting. Mm-hmm. And we actually caught one before that was, early in the season, earlier than expected in the season. We're like, oh, hey, this might be a great season. We're getting them right now. And
that was it. That was the season. It was awesome.
It was a quick one.
Those little tricksters, they got me again. Fishing, man. You never know what's going to happen, Yep. Yeah, so.
Part of it, right?
Yep. Anyhow, just wanted to say hello and good morning, and guys have a great day.
Hey, appreciate you calling in, Frank. Thanks so much for the fishing report, and we'll see you on the water.
All right, we'll see ya.
Yeah, awesome. And real quick, we got one more caller we want to try to get in here before this break. We got Johnny from Safety Harbor talking fried fish.
Whoa.
My favorite subject.
Yeah, man.
How you doing, Johnny?
Very, very nice. You bet. Good morning, loyal listener. So I got a couple of ideas for you. Back in the 70s, in thinking of our great host, Jack Harris, the Colonnade kicked out more fried flounder, and I was on board with that whole program with those guys, than you could shake a stick at and promise, And the other one was the great pecan shrimp. But when we're talking fried shrimp, we're not talking fried shrimp today. We're talking fried alternative fish.
We're talking fried.
And what I learned lately out in, I go to Alaska each year. Of course, it's fried halibut out there like crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give this to everybody for free. We came up with, you got panko crumbs now, you in breading and flour and this and that. But what we did do, and I'm on board with this, a little bit of what's known as potato flake inside that breading on the second part of your bread when you bread. Some of that potato flake inside that recipe is a sweetheart thing. Not much.
My goodness.
I'm going to go with 20% maybe, but it's in and about your flour or panko combo. Very
awesome.
Nice.
I appreciate the
very
tips.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm in.
And I enjoyed listening to you about grouper and grits and the history of why grouper was on board so heavy early on.
Mm-hmm.
Grouper and grits, who'd have thunk?
Everything's good with
really
grits.
Cool.
So I'm in with
I always
grits.
pick up a little something from you guys each and every time I'm with you. And I'll see you on Thursday at the game.
Awesome.
At the hockey game.
All right, man.
All
Thanks
right,
for calling in. Appreciate those fried
Thanks
fish
for the call,
tips, Johnny.
Safety Harbor. Yeah, go Safety Harbor.
Oh, you bet. You bet. All right, gang. Have a super. Bye.
See it. Awesome. Fried fishing tips. Who would have thunk it?
Hey,
awesome.
Hey, you never know where this show's going.
It's going to go to food. You do know, guys. But we'll be right back on WFLA Real Animals Radio Show. We got a short segment on the other side. Appreciate you hanging out with us. We got more to talk. We'll be right back.
Looking for the Bay Area's premier family boating resource?
Yeah.
Look no further than...
goes quick.
I forgot to start the show with Mike's thing about how, unfortunately, only 2 hours. Yeah, when it was 3 hours, you had a lot of time to talk about whatever you wanted to. But yeah, you got to stay on top of it.
And I tell you, that Sunday show with the amount of advertising, it flies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when I used to do it when Billy was here too. I'd come in and do the Sunday show with Billy too, and it's like, man, I mean, 3 hours was perfect because it gave people time to get up, get going.
Yeah.
Because they all start calling right at the end.
Yep. Yeah, just like then we had 3 callers.
Yep.
So you're having to rush through callers. Whereas like the first hour, you don't have many callers, so you can talk more. But then you're just bouncing around.
Yep. But as long as you keep stuff going, you don't you got to do you got to do different stuff to give people ideas, because some people just listen. All of a sudden you trigger it, something in their head, like that guy with a fried fish idea,
Dude, potato flakes. So we're talking about fried fish with potato chips. I'm about that life. Like when they started doing the Cheetos,
I was just gonna say the
Flamin'
Cheetos.
Hot Cheeto
Yeah.
coating on.
Yep.
You had me.
And I tell you, my mom used to. She used crushed up Ritz crackers.
Mm-hmm.
Now Ritz crackers got that little sweetness to it.
Yeah.
That buttery sweetness, and buddy, that was awesome too. You know, dredge it through the Ritz crackers, woohoo! You know, but yeah. I'll be going home making some grits. And
Yeah, my family, we were always gray snapper and grits. That was a big thing for us in the morning.
We did mullet a lot of times.
Mullet,
I'd go
too,
down the end
yeah.
of my street. I still live on the same street, but I could walk down the end of my street with a cast net, a 5-gallon bucket, and never get my feet wet.
Yeah.
Throw over the sawgrass and just crush them. Drag
Nice.
it up on the grass, snap their necks,
Mm-hmm.
throw them in a bucket, walk back home.
Mullet are incredible. That was my grandmother's favorite eating fish was a
Yep.
mullet.
We grew up eating all that grits and mullet and baked
Mm-hmm.
beans.
She loves mullet
Yep.
up until the day she passed. And I remember she was not feeling well, getting closer to the end, and she wanted Ted Peters' smoked mullet. Yep. I would go down there and bring her smoked mullet as much as I could. She was a cool lady.
Yeah. Yeah. I still, I don't do this. I got a smoker. It looks like a tool shed.
Oh, really?
When I bought the house in '85, built this smoker.
That's
and
cool.
It really turned out to be way more than it was supposed to be. Because we grew up with a smoker when we were kids. I mean, elementary school, we're selling smoked mullet.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. But the old timers, we split the whole mullet, the head
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah. Oh, the head too.
Open it
You
up
didn't
like
butterfly
this.
it without the head.
Nope. And it was weird. All these old guys that come into Ellsworth and was selling mullet, and I'd have some smoked mullet, and I'd split right down the head and open up, and that holds everything in.
Mhm.
If you cut the head off,
All the
juices
juice comes
come
out.
And plus, it would make like a pocket, put your dipping sauce in there.
Mm.
So you'd pull the backbone out, and you take your meat and dip it in the sauce, and they go, "Golly, man, I've been doing this." I said, "These are mullet fishermen showed me."
You
this."
would split the head or just leave the head whole?
No,
and
split the head right from the mouth all the way, and just lay him open and rinse him out.
Hmm.
And even put the gizzard. We'd lay the gizzard, open the gizzard up, and throw that back in there and smoke the gizzard too.
Wow.
But these old mullet fishermen showed
And
me
now I'm
this.
hungry. Again.
These guys, these mullet fishermen back in the day in the Bay, they didn't make it through first grade. This is what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like, they raised turtles to sell to the Fort Harrison Hotel for
Mhm.
their turtle soup.
Yeah.
With a horse and carriage, a horse and cart taking turtles to the Fort Harrison Hotel. I mean, this was neat. You talk about stories.
Horse and carriage. You're not that old.
Oh no, I didn't. That's what these guys
okay.
did. No, I didn't do that.
I was like in my head. I'm like doing the math. I'm like,
no, I'm not there. But we're sitting there. We'd be on the floor listening to old Mr. Linton, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you talk about a mullet fisherman,
Mhm.
Bill Netter. I mean, he'd have a blue crab on his foot, pinching his foot, and he'd smash it with the other foot. It was awesome, man.
And Hubbard.
Captain Dylan Hubbard here with the Real Animals Radio Show. Appreciate you tuning in this morning. We've got our good buddy Captain Dave Blanchard from Pumpkin Jigs in studio this morning. And want to give our shout out to our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems. If you need a new roof or roof repair, check out our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems. They understand that your roof is a large investment and it protects most everything you own. So let Affordable Roofing Systems' 3 decades of experience and roofing knowledge guide you through this important process. Whether you need a shingle, metal, tile, or flat roof, Affordable Roofing Systems is your safest bet for repairs or replacements. Affordable Roofing Systems is defined by integrity, respect, and honesty, and it has a personalized and professional approach to doing business. Call Affordable Roofing Systems today at 888-397-ROOF for your free estimate, or visit their website at affordableroofingflorida.com.
Great job.
Appreciate it. We are on our last segment of the morning, unfortunately.
Wow.
But we do want to give a shout out to our Real Animals Fishing Conversations. February 15th, we are back in person for our first in-person real animals fishing conversation event at Furman. So we are very, very excited about that, and Bartow Ford, and it's going to be a good time.
Oh, the in-person stuff is fun, and I did all that with Capt Mike, and then I've done the podcast with him, but we're people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's great to be in front of people.
Connect to people.
Yeah. It's just
There's no substitute.
Nope. I mean, it's great to have people stand in front of you asking questions.
Yeah.
It's just I love doing it. So it's awesome.
We do the live show every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. on our Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram pages, and it streams live to the Real Animals page as well on Facebook. But there's no substitute for our Bass Pro Shop seminars that we do once a month. I mean, I enjoy it, and it was tough. It was a year and a half that we weren't able to do that at Bass Pro Shop. So it's really good to be back. I couldn't agree with you more.
I know. I was used to the monthly, and I'm back to Tailwater Outfitters and the Clearwater area, Largo area, doing monthly seminars. And
when's your next seminar?
It probably won't be. It'll probably be January.
Yeah,
because they're going to take a break.
December.
Yep, December. But I mean, that's just started up. They've got me doing some a series of following through, and I love getting out and meeting the people, sharing. It's sharing the knowledge.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. That's what this whole industry is.
Connecting, networking, and sharing knowledge. It's a lot of fun.
Yep. But it was awesome being with you here today.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this. It's the first time we've ever done anything like this together.
Yeah, it was fun.
And it was fun. And I want to commend you as being one of the younger guys coming in, that you've taken the reins of so much to keep up on all this. Just like when the fella called in, it has gotten so stringent with the rules.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's definitely a little bit of practice to stay up with all that stuff.
And you have done that, and I've followed you and watched you, and that's awesome that you're doing that. We need you out there.
I appreciate it, and I'm happy to do it. It's my little piece that I can give back, and want to give a shout out to our good buddy Captain Rob behind the glass. Been a little quiet this morning. We've been having a conversation over here. We miss you, Rob.
I like to eat fish, too. You guys didn't ask me.
That's because he had a mouthful of apple turnover in there.
That's right.
Yes, sir. But appreciate you tuning in and joining us this morning out there in the radio world and Facebook world. We've got the Real Animals radio show tomorrow morning on WDAE from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Join us. We'll be back again next week. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy.
And I'm going to say it, Merry Christmas.
There it is. See you guys. We'll be back next week. So we're going to wrap up our Facebook live stream now. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us in Facebook world. Let me get out of that logo. There it is. Appreciate you watching this morning. Thank you for watching on the Real Animals page and on the Hubbard's Marina page and Gills and all the other pages. Bull Bay Rods is the other one that we're sharing this to. So hopefully you enjoyed the show this morning. Hopefully we got to your questions, and hopefully you'll join us again tomorrow. Mahoney, Ben Marshall going to be in studio talking fishing from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. over on DAE 620, and they will be streaming live to the Real Animals Facebook page as well. So join that show. Join us tomorrow night for the Hubbard's Marina live stream show at 8:30 p.m. Right here on the Real Animals Facebook and Hubbard's Marina Facebook channels. And Captain Dave, appreciate you tuning in.
Well, it was
hanging
awesome.
out, not tuning in.
I'm tuned out.
We're people, remember.
We're not tuned. I'm not in tune at all. Okay? But it was great. It was great being here, sharing the time with Captain Dillon there. Like
and
I said,
appreciate the apple turnovers.
Yeah,
and
well,
cherry
like I said, you
turnovers.
got to keep things rolling, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But and again, I hope everything has a safe Merry Christmas.
Amen to that.
Yep, and a great New Year. Let's get out and catch them up.
Catch them up, guys. Appreciate you watching, and Merry Christmas. We'll see you next week. We'll see you next week, guys.